Hi, I'm Channel Jacker,
I'm Fiction Addict.
and we are the Storytrollers.
In the same room.
No webcam cutting that I'm sure annoys the heck out of our subscribers with the quality change. We are live in the same room, as you can plainly see. Yeah, I shouldn't do that. Anyway, as you might have known from our videos, she is from Los Angeles, and I am from Pennsylvania. And currently we are live, this is live when it's uploaded, it won't be, in Pennsylvania, and many of you may be thinking, wow, she went all the way from Los Angeles to Pennsylvania, and you might be thinking, well, it must have been some big event or something special to come all the way there, just halfway, it's literally cross country, and the reason is to meet me. And you may be thinking, well, that's really stupid. She must be insane. And I would say...
I'm sorry, that happens sometimes. What were you saying?
I would say yeah, but my second response is, this whole thing that you're seeing here is actually something that is 3.5 years in the making. And what I mean by that is, you may have seen our beginning Storytroller video.
Gosh,
the horribly edited.
That was my first attempt with iMovie, people. Like, my very first attempt.
It's okay. I mean, hey, first attempt, but it got the job done in setting up our channel. She could probably do a much better one now, but it's up, it's there, it exists. What are you going to do about it?
Hey, and you get to see the progress and how it got better. And the tricks that got added. Oh, the tricks. I was so excited.
But anyway, if you've seen that video, and if Addict wants to leave a link to it to show how bad it used to be, she can. But if you watch that video, you'll see a little synopsis of how we met. And how we met was not through Skype. This is titled Our Skype Story, but we actually first met on the fanfiction site.
The least likely website to meet somebody?
Well, fanfiction's a place for sharing reviews and sharing feedback. Unfortunately, it also has that reputation about itself.
Yes, it does.
However, I choose to ignore that reputation because fanfiction actually has some really good stories out there with really good artists. It has a lot of bad stories by a lot of bad writers who attempt to create their own spin on things. But you know what? Not everybody's a writer. You don't really know until you try. If you have an idea in your head, you want to see if you can put it down on paper, good effort. If it's one of those horrible yaoi yuri fan fictions that you just have in your head fantasized and you want to see it on paper, if you like yaoi and yuri, that's your thing. But oh my god, when it's written, when you don't even know it's yaoi and yuri until like halfway through the story, like a certain somebody, and they gave no warning in the description, first line of the next chapter, didn't even know. It was a horrible story to begin with. I don't even know why I continued with it. I guess morbid curiosity. But anyway, I stumbled across a author called He Calls Me His Child. And the first story of hers I read was Manin, an Invader Zim fanfic. And the story was pretty much revolved around Zim was captured, and he now is taken, and he must live with a family. He must integrate into human life, all while drumming up horrible memories, a horrible backstory, and all these obstacles in his way, while realizing that taking over the world isn't as important as a family, and even more than that. What I liked about this story was that it told a great story, and not a lot was needed. The chapters weren't insanely long. They kept your attention. They gave you a lot with just a little, and that is a secret of writing. Because I write fan fictions, and I am insane with the word count I have. And when you see a good writer who can write like only like 1,000-word chapters, even less, when like her longest chapter is like, I don't know what,
1,500, 2,000 was my absolute max, and that's going overboard for me.
And when mine is like 10,000, it can go to, and I don't even break a sweat. And she can just tell that much of a plot line in that short of words, and make you want to see the next chapter and beg her for the next chapter, and I wasn't one of those, but trust me, if you see the reviews, they're still there and they're still coming.
Some
When's
of
the
them
next
want
chapter?
to murder me for my cliffhangers, especially when I vanish for 6 months at a time.
But that shows you're a good author. That shows you're a good author, and it shows that they want to see your work. Anyway, I love the story. I also thought, man, this chick is messed up. Because when you read her fan fictions, if you want to leave a link also to your fan fiction site, to the stories that are the most popular and profound, which would be Manim, Another Set of Eyes.
That's an old one.
It's still pretty decent. I like that one.
That's an old
And
one.
then,
I'm embarrassed by it.
And then there's one for sentimental value, which I'm going to get to later, Pennies and Paperclips. Now, Pennies and Paperclips. I'll just get to it now. That is the fan fiction that got us together. Pennies and Paperclips centers around a mentally challenged, I guess you could say, Urkin named Grupp, a natural-born Smeet in a world of cloned Urkins with his mother and drunken father who sees him as a disappointment because of that. Pretty much that he put his whole title and everything on the line, and that's what he got in return for it. Pretty much ashamed of his son and everything else. It was a short story, I think 2 or 3 chapters, maybe not even, maybe just 2 chapters. It was all about that Tallis were breathing down their necks and about to find them, and the husband ratted them out, killed the mother. The mother had these pennies and paperclips in a bag. Turns out they were
microchips disguised as pennies and paperclips, and marbles and screws.
Just all in a bag. She handed them to Grupp as she died, and then the SIR units came in, got Grupp, and brought him back to the Tallists. The Tallists took the chips, microchips, pennies and paperclips, marbles and screws. Some got broken because Grupp held them so tight, and Grupp was then sentenced to death. Did he have a pack? I think they removed his pack.
Yeah, they removed his pack.
They removed his pack and pretty much just sent him down a chute to die alone. And it was heartbreaking, and then you realize that those pennies and paperclips were memories that Grupp had. They were his personality.
His mother had backed him up into the microchips.
Just because she probably foresaw this coming. Possibly foresaw this coming. And then you see that Grupp turns out to be Gur.
What does the G stand for?
Grupp.
That's the question. This is what happens. I find a question, or I find something that needs explaining, and I go, well, what happened here? Well, what does the G stand for? Well, let's figure it out. Why does he run if there are pennies, paperclips, marbles, and screws in his head? How does he run? Well, maybe they're not just what they look like. Maybe they're microchips.
How does he laugh? How does he emote? No other SIRs emote or have those eyes in the Invaders Zim universe. So it just begs the question, why is Gur that way? And I've seen a lot of Gur fan fictions out there of where Gur is just treated like a complete imbecile, a complete dunderhead. He's even shipped in the weirdest ways possible. Like, he's actually turned into a woman and given to Zim as a crack pairing. I'm not kidding.
I haven't seen that one, but I don't put it.
There's at least one I saw of that. At least one. I think it's called Girl. I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
Sorry.
Mental
but anyway,
images.
After I finished reading pretty much everything on her site, she posted something about possibly giving up the Invader Zim fan fictions in turn for something else that I've never even heard of. I don't even know what it was. You can't even remember what it was.
I can't remember.
That's the
I have
sad
the memory
part.
of a goldfish.
But that's the sad part. It's like, I'm going to give up all Invader Zim for this. And I can't even remember what it was. And then I was just like, wait. No, that shouldn't happen. You're one of the best Invader Zim fanfiction writers on fanfiction, and you are. I've seen, there aren't many good Invader Zim fanfiction writers out there that can hold a cohesive fanfiction story that long with Invader Zim. You're welcome. And because of that, I messaged her, and I said, there's this one story that I see a really good plot point with, and that's called Pennies and Paperclips. And I gave her this whole backstory, all of it fledged out.
For a sequel.
Single, well, not every single detail. I left like some little like little hints of what could be happening, and like it was really good. I spent maybe an hour on it. I send it, and the message that pops up is Internet Explorer has a connection problem, or this web page cannot be displayed. I stare at the screen for 5 minutes. I tantrum the next 10. I hit the back button when my internet comes back on, and it's all gone. 3.5 years have made me learn to stack up everything in Word documents. For this particular reason, that I learned, unfortunately. But at least I learned it. So then, I did it all over again.
And then what I got was an incredibly depressed message going, I'm sorry, I had this huge long thing written out, and it was completely deleted. So here's the shorter synopsis, and the shorter synopsis was still about 1 or 2 pages, single-spaced.
I was very upset. I was just like, she's going to think I'm an idiot now, you know. What did I do? I mean, why did my editor have to do that at that time? You know, she'll never get back to me. I'm sure she gets a lot of creative ideas from people, or she gets so many uncreative ideas from people, she's learned to stop opening the emails. But to my surprise, I guess, back at the time...
Just for the record, anybody who sends me something that in-depth will always get a response. I adore in-depth reviews / ideas. I may not always accept them, but that's definitely why I got a response.
Got a response the next day. Maybe the next morning.
I check my email obsessively.
Whenever I checked my email next, I saw she responded, and I just looked, and she said, I love this idea. I want to hear what you have, I want to hear more about it. So then she said, hey, do you have a Skype? And I said, I don't know if I had a Skype before you. I think I did, but I barely used it. I don't know. I can't really remember if I used it, a lot, if I had it before I met you.
I just started using it because I had moved away from my family in Los Angeles to Seattle for college. So I just started using Skype as my main method of talking to my parents.
So she gave me her Skype address. I added her. We talked.
I think
webcam talked.
I think probably how this came about was when we talked about how to do a story. I've been a long-time role player at that point, and I think I said, well, you know, one of the best ways, wasn't this the best way to run a story like this is maybe to role play it back and forth?
Well, before we did that, I remember we talked about Pennies and Paperclips. We ran out Marbles and Screws.
Which was the sequel, Marbles and Screws. That's what we were talking about.
She'll link to both if you want to see it. Pennies and Paperclips, Marbles and Screws.
I'll link to the profile. They can find it.
Yeah, at least, you know, just look for the titles. They're very simple. And we finished the Marbles and Screws. There actually was a third one that's kind of still in the pipeline.
I've got 5 in the middle of the novel I'm working on, so we'll see. No promises.
Yeah.
No promises.
I'm a patient guy. But anyway, we worked on Marbles and Screws. She would always send me bits and pieces of the chapter. I would read and say, okay, this looks good. I'd look for spelling errors. I'd be pretty much her proofreader. We were writing the story together.
Yeah.
And then I think the whole roleplay thing came about when we were talking about what to do next with the Marbles and Screws story.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, maybe, I don't want to give too much away, but maybe the father gets some assassins and sends them after everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking, because at this point I had what is called an OC, an original character. I had some of them in my mind, not really flushed out, They were kind of there. I didn't really know what to do with them. Uh, but my mind comes up with like a character a minute sometimes. Sometimes they fade from existence. Sometimes they stay there. And I had maybe like 6 or 7 that were like stuck in a group at the moment. So she was just thinking, well, maybe they could be the assassins. And I said, I'm just not really sure how to include them all. And then she said, well, I'm an avid role player. So maybe we could role play a scenario and see how it goes. And I said, okay, and I never role played in my life. Like, I've acted out scenes in my head of characters, OCs, just original cartoons, how that episode could have gone, how this episode could have gone, how my characters in that episode could upset the entire balance of it, make things happen, yada yada yada. But I never did it over computer roleplay. And you have to understand, speaking of Skype, that was her Skype.
Sorry.
And you have to understand, I was a kid who got a computer maybe just 4 years ago. And that's amazing for me to say because I use my computer
I didn't know that.
drastically. I was like a sophomore, maybe a freshman, sophomore in high school when I got my first computer.
Huh.
And I was just like, where was this my life? My entire life. I mean, I really kind of got my computer at the right time, though, because I got it right when Facebook, Twitter, like, all them started to, like, explode. YouTube was already kind of there, and it's, already pretty big in itself, growing, as it were, but, like, I got the internet right before social media exploded, and, like, fan fiction exploded, and, like, all these other mediums started to appear on the interwebs. And for me to, like, because another thing is like, will I be able to roleplay? Because here's the thing, I don't type like a normal person. It's hard to believe, but I am double jointed in all of my fingers, all of them. So, like, when they would teach you in school how to do that little, like, put your finger there to type the upper and lower letters, my fingers would always bend involuntarily, and it would always create problems. So my index fingers didn't really do that, so I type just like this.
Whereas I do
It's just 2 index fingers slamming the keyboards. And I
is,
know that's hard to believe, but Dusty just saw it. She saw it for herself, and
I can vouch. And he goes, basically, and we haven't, obviously he has a speed clock himself, but I go between 80, 90 words a minute, and he keeps up with me.
Yeah.
2 fingers.
And my parents can't even understand it either. It's just an adaptability. And so she said, you want to role play a scene? I'll just put, because the whole thing was Invader Zim, I'll put Zim in his base doing something, and you bring one of your characters in. My main OC.
Just as practice.
Yes. My main OC was named Riddick. Just bring him in. We'll go how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
And just to clarify, this is text-based roleplay where basically it's more or less interactive reading and writing.
Pretty much we put our character's name in front of the text, and then
what they say, and then what they would do.
Sometimes a group, name, space, like words, space. And anyway, so then, it was just like, okay, let's act out the scene. I introduced all my OCs. We got all Invader Zim in there. Had this plot point in about an hour, and it kept going. The plot pretty much was just, let's go save Zim. We saved Zim. We got through the obstacles. Sometimes we didn't even need physical force. We just needed mental, and it was something that was new and something that was interesting. And then I pretty much just went, hey, this is pretty interesting. How about we continue this a little bit? 3 years later, it's still going.
It's a monster. We have over 300 characters between us. I had them all in a spreadsheet at one point.
She had the entire roleplay catalog.
I think I stopped at about 250 people, and I just gave up.
I think she actually still has the roleplay catalog.
I have it somewhere. Hold on. Sorry, this is unscripted, and therefore things happen.
It's okay. That doesn't mean the camera went off.
No.
Anyway, where was I back at that? Anyway, yeah. Between all of us, between just the two of us, just two people, no group role play, no nothing like that. I want to know if it's a record because it has to be close. Is that we have that many characters in between us, recurring characters, I might add. Like some characters don't stick. We just go and forget them, and then other characters keep coming back in smaller and bigger roles, in roles that fit them. And it's really interesting because, it's just interesting because it's only two people with all these characters, and they can just they can keep them fresh and keep them unique and keep them different, keep them in their own stories, keep them together and united as one. It's really interesting. Wish you could see it, but really,
it's not possible. My Word document, like 3 Word documents that are like over 500,000 pages each. It's not possible.
Anything's possible if you believe.
Yeah, you edited it.
Yeah. Anyway, the roleplay thing went on for a long time. Still going. In the middle, Dusty said something that kind of threw me for a loop, but
I do that sometimes.
Yeah, she pretty much just said, "Hey, I know we have a lot of fun with the role play and all that, but I think we need to stop." And I was just like, "Wait, what?" And this was like maybe 2 years into us knowing each other, around there, of us almost role playing every day.
It was actually, it was a little over a year ago. When I first came back to LA.
So 2 years. And she just, not to go into anything too personal, she ran down the reasons. It was a lot of like, she was really just trying to make it.
I have an extremely addictive personality, and
Yes.
It was kind of all-consuming. Which, if any of you are watching roleplay, you gotta know what it's like.
Yeah.
It's very addicting. It's wonderful. It's a lot of fun, but it can become all-consuming at a certain point.
And I understood that. And it was just like one of those things where she said, if you want to stop being my friend, if you want to stop talking to me, if I hurt you in an unbearable way, you never have to talk to me again. You can unfriend me from your Skype list. And I pretty much...
He sent me this clip.
Snap out of it!
And that was the clip. But yeah, I pretty much just told her, like, do you think our entire friendship was based around this roleplay? Because I do have to tell you all, this wasn't just something based around roleplay. This was something where we talked.
Maybe about a year into it, we started talking about real stuff.
Maybe half a year.
Half a year to a year.
Like it became more of a let's not role play. It became more of a, you seem upset. Why don't we talk? Your job. She used to have a job at Subway. You seem to have had a stressful day at work, judging by your typed mumble.
You're usually chattering a mile a minute. You're not saying anything at all. Is everything's going okay?
And that's something you can see. That's how close we were as people. That when you could read the type, just the type on the screen.
There was still miscommunication because it's text. And
but even you could just sometimes even when you think something wrong, you just go, "You okay?" And we'd be honest with each other. We'd say, "Yeah," or a little something happened, And we'd say, "Do you want to talk about it?" We respect each other's privacy if we didn't want to talk about it, but usually more often than not, we would talk about it. We would video call, we'd talk for a long time, we'd say our piece, our opinions, and usually they were good opinions, and usually we got each other through some things. More often than not, it was me getting her through things, making her laugh with either roleplay or just simple jokes. Sometimes having her on the floor at points, apparently.
Yeah, there were one or two things that took me about 15 minutes to collect myself.
But yes, so I pretty much said, that do you think that's the only reason that I talked to you was because of roleplay? And pretty much, I think she did to an extent.
Some trouble trusting people in general, and basically figuring that, well, obviously I'm not worth it myself, so you have free reign to go if you want to go.
So I pretty much gave her the whole spiel about I consider you a great friend, maybe even one of my best friends. Role play, if it has to end, sure I'll be sad. And I was sad. But I'm not gonna stop talking to you. There's plenty of other stuff we can do. And just this whole spiel about, I consider you a true friend and, all this other stuff.
I won't say it because you're gonna hit me.
I know, I said it. Even when I said it, I'm like, don't make the joke.
I'm trying so hard.
But apparently, when I typed all that out, like, I had to wait, 10 minutes for a response, because apparently she went to the bathroom and cried.
More or less.
So pretty much, because she'd never thought I would say that. And, long story short, nothing changed when we stopped role-playing. The conversations may have been a little bit shorter here and there, but that's mainly because we didn't have anything to talk about.
Well, we learned what else to talk about.
We adapted to the situation. We watched movies. We made this. We
Storytrollers.
did a lot of other things. We still talked about things. And, of course, all this other stuff. And long story short, for right now, we are actually still role-playing to an extent. It kind of came back.
Temporarily.
It's something that we talked about. Dusty's kind of learned to be able to do it in a moderative ability here and there. It's one of those things where, she'll ask if you want to role play, and I'll say no, and she'll let it go until the next day, because she knows that I have things going on in my life as well. I just got a job, a part-time job in the middle of the week, and stuff like that. So she knows, she understands, and we do what we do it. Anyway, now it was on the next topic. So anyway, after all that, after making all the Storytrollers and stuff, always in our conversations, maybe a year into first year of our talking
I thought
on
it was maybe
Skype.
2 years.
It might have been a year and a half. I'm just thinking, we always teased about the possibility of you coming to Pennsylvania or me going to Los Angeles.
Well, Seattle, and then it became Los Angeles, but,
And then it would be wouldn't that be awesome to meet, And you know what? Actually, at one point in our friendship, she came to Pennsylvania, but she was too far away and she couldn't make it down here.
Twice. I was in 3 hours driving distance, but I don't have a license, and the person I was with couldn't make a detour.
And it was just so close, but we couldn't do it.
That was about a year and a half ago.
So it's just we were just is it ever gonna happen? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. You never know what the fates have in store. But just earlier this year, I want to say around April or May.
Well, here, let me take it from here. Because around January, basically.
Oh, was it January?
On my end, you didn't know about it. On January, I started going, you know what? It's been 3 years. I want to meet him. And you know what? I'm going to go up there, and Babushka is going to surprise him. And I was hyped up about this secret for about a month and a half, keeping it and dying the entire time, freaking out, and going, oh, this is going to be great, but what if it's not? But this is going to be great, what if it's not? Oh, this is going to fail so bad. And eventually I became convinced that the best thing to do would probably be to let him know I was coming.
Because also there was other things involved, like the financial aspect, the travel aspect, the hotel aspect. It wasn't just, I'm going to come to your house and then leave.
Yeah.
It was something of So she told me about it.
Maybe end of February, probably.
February, if you don't know, that's our Skype anniversary. It's like in the middle of February, our Skype anniversary. But we actually, I think, started talking even before then on fan fiction.
Well, I think that was actually when the first message came through.
Was it February?
I'll have to look it up.
She still has a catalog, it's memories. But she told me, and I was like, oh, that's really great. Because there was actually something that was happening on that date, around that date. One is my birthday is July 21st, but the day before there was going to be an event, something called Chikara Pro, which is a wrestling promotion,
which we will
around
get to
my
talking
area.
About soon.
Around my area, and she wanted to come see that too. But due to things happening, it couldn't happen. I told her about it, but she was still coming. It became instead of her having a singular like lone trip, it became her mom, and her little sister coming up because her mom is a singer. She sings around, she's made tours all around the world, like Poland, I believe you said.
Poland, Germany, Ireland, Israel, Philippines.
Everywhere. Just singing, and you can see she has a fan base to do so. So her mom, for this occasion, booked a tour in the Philadelphia area, Baltimore, around there.
Baltimore, Maryland, Virginia, Philly.
Yeah, exactly.
Just around the circuit.
Vicinity. So she said, and then she pretty much said, this is going to happen. I bought the plane ticket. It's all taken care of. We're gonna meet. And it was exciting. There was slight nervousness because, of course.
I don't know about your nervousness, but I was freaking out.
I was pretty much calm about the situation, but of course, you have the parents who don't really they get the internet, but they don't really understand how this could happen. Like
my parents kind of got it.
You've never physically met this girl. You've never touched her, and you talked to her for 3 years, but she could be a serial killer for all you know. She could be.
I still could be.
You still could be. If this video cuts off abruptly, you'll probably know what happened. Anyway, but my parents were pretty much just, they weren't like against it at all. They were just, of course they had some flags raised. Like, is she just coming down here to see you? Yes. Just you. Yes. That's it. We've been friends for 3.5 years. I know that all you've seen is, are you talking to that girl from Seattle again on your laptop? And I would go, no. She moved back to Los Angeles. And, that was the thing. I never really talked to my parents about Dusty. Because I don't really talk to my parents about the internet in general. It's unscripted. If I fall out of character, it's fine. But pretty much, she found out what she'll be able to do. It was going to be like 4 days of free time. I think she added a few more days because she found out she would have more money. And she was able to stay by herself for 2 days while her mom had a concert in Philly. So she was keeping me updated. It was like so more miles till the big meeting. To the big meeting.
Even on the Greyhound bus over, I was just Skyping on my phone and going,
yep, the Skype.
I'm passing this city. I have no idea where I am. Do you know my estimated time of arrival?
And then I was just like, ooh, you're getting closer. Then her Skype cut out. And I'm like, wait, no. Luckily, she gave me your cell number.
No data coverage.
Luckily, she gave me your phone number, and I called her. I'm just like, okay, did you get past so and so? And she said, yeah, okay, we're going. And we got to the bus terminal. She was standing there. I told her to drop her luggage, and she did.
My luggage.
And I picked her up and I swung her around in a big hug. I told her I was taller than her. You can see just by I'm on a beanbag chair. That's not fair.
No.
But I am
I'd say
about.
by comparison, I'm maybe about here. You'd say, if we're standing, I'm about here probably.
Yeah, you're about up to my shoulder, chest.
About there.
Yeah.
This is uncomfortable.
Well, you're the one who went through the example. But anyway, we met. It was almost, it was kind of like with this You know, you always have that nagging feeling like, will this be awkward? Will this be nothing like you expected? Will this suck? Will like, it's just like, you know, it's one of those things where you just have to think, you know, but we just went right into normal conversation.
Pretty much.
Pretty much like, you know, she got in the back of the car.
Immediately started
talked.
trading inside jokes about the RP.
Yeah, we talked. My mom drove. You know,
His mom's really nice.
my mom and her hit it off right away. My mom, like, she even met my grandmother. My grandmother loved her.
You have to tell her hi for me, and I'm sorry for
my
paying
mom,
it back.
yeah, my dad liked you, and you know, it was just an immediate like hit off. Like, your little sister loves me. Your mom likes me. You have PA friends. She had 3 friends from Pennsylvania
Including him.
including me. Knowingly.
You know who you are. Hi, you're awesome.
Yeah, you might see one of them in a future review.
Look for the Rocky Horror.
Look for, yeah, that's a spoiler. You might see a Rocky
Oops.
Horror Picture Show review in the coming months. So get prepared for that. But anyway, so yeah, it was just like, we're still here, we're still talking. We went to a carnival, an amusement park.
Nobles, people, I've been to Six Flags, I've been to Disneyland. Nobles is better than both of them put together.
Yes.
I don't care who hangs me for it.
If any of you know Nobles Grove, you will know it's a very fun, homely park. It's got great rides, and
it's unique. That's what I love about it. It's unique.
She and her little sister
I
loved the
fell in love
rides.
with this
She
place.
loved it. The food, the rides, the atmosphere, everything about it she loved. And, you know, it was just all around having a great time, you know, and pretty much everything that we expected on the high end of the expectations. We also saw Turbo and Despicable Me 2 in the theaters. One with our friend and the other one with our friend, her little sister, and her mother. And quick synopsis: Turbo was better than expected. If you
I was surprised.
If you like DreamWorks and you like good animation, DreamWorks, I think, does it again in terms of surprising you.
And I'm just going to say their writing was a lot tighter than I expected to be for a story about snails that were racing.
I thought it was going to be their version of Cars. Honestly, a lot of people did.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
Surprisingly. In fact, it beat Pixar. Well, it's not hard to beat Cars. I'm sorry, but it's not.
I don't hate Cars, but I can see where people come from, like, why is it Cars? We're in the money. We're in the money.
You're going to get skewered for that.
Oh, it's
You've already been skewered for that.
It's a joke. I'm a troll, remember? But, anyway. We also saw Despicable Me 2, and we really liked that movie. We didn't have that much expectation for Turbo, so we were greatly surprised with the result. Despicable Me 2, we had high expectations, and they lived up to them.
Didn't fail, except for a little too much Minion focus, in my opinion.
Yeah,
please just shoot the Minion movie in the foot
I'm
now.
sorry, I'm not.
Put it down.
That's another thing I might be skewered for. I'm not excited for the Minion movie. I don't think it's going to be great. I mean, when you think about side characters getting their own movies, like The Lion King 1.5, and others like their own shows,
can you
their
really
own
hear a whole movie of? Can you really stand that for 90 minutes?
Apparently, there's going to be other characters, so there is talking. But still, I mean, I like the Minions in the role they're in. They are supportive. They can be other things. Like Despicable Me 2, I'm not going to reveal much to people who didn't see the movie, but the Minions play a pretty big part without being the main focus of the movie. And that's what I like. I like the Minions being what they are. They're not overbearing in their role. In an entire movie about them, it would get grating. I'm just saying it would get grating. The scenes they were in Despicable Me 2 were fine, but they weren't the focus, and that's the point. So, yeah, the Minion movie...
Focus back around.
The Minion movie, I'm not excited about either. But yeah, we saw those, loved them, we had a blast, and pretty much Dusty's going to be heading back to Los Angeles tomorrow.
Well, heading toward the airport tomorrow, and then the day after that, flying back home.
So yeah, we're going to have tonight, and we'll see about tomorrow, because I do have work. We're gonna see if we can have a little bit of a
Potentially
send off,
breakfast or something.
a breakfast maybe. We'll talk about it. Anyway, we were thinking in making this, we thought, there's this thing on YouTube right now. Skype is doing this thing called Skype Stories, the most interesting Skype stories, and like how you met on Skype. What has Skype done for you? Has Skype changed your life? And in all honesty, Skype has changed my life because Skype has given me my friendship with Dusty. Without Skype, this never would have happened. We would never be in the same room. We would never know each other as good as we do now.
No. And because my computer's a little old, every time I try to go back into old histories at this point, my entire computer freaks out because there's just too much of a word count for it to load anything past 2 weeks, I think. I just get the beach ball of doom for about 30 minutes.
But yeah, just, thinking about what Skype has done. And Skype hasn't just, done that. I've talked to people on Skype from New Zealand, Australia, United Kingdom, Canada, all around the United States, Sweden. I don't know if I said Sweden yet.
Sweden?
Yeah, Sweden.
Got Australia, England, Germany right now.
And Germany. And Germany. You know who you are in Germany. We're going to see you in a future review. Yeah. You're getting a lot of slight spoilers in here, aren't you? But yeah, in short, because this video is anything but short at this point.
I think this might have to be broken up into 2 parts. We'll see.
You can upload. It'll just be a longer upload. In short, how has Skype changed my life? It's changed it for the better, because I have this thing now, and well, she's turned out to be quite all right.
Tap my head again and die.
Yes, that's why I did it once. Anyway, yeah, Skype, thank you. That's all I can really say.
Thank you.
3.5 years.
Still going.
Still going, no signs of stopping.
A few bumps here and there.
Few bumps of internet here and there, pending.
Personality bumps sometimes,
but
it happens when you have one person who enjoys morbid, depressing, let's make their lives hell in this role play.
And one person who enjoys making things more lighthearted and happy.
That's not how it is in real life! I'm sorry, I don't know where that came from.
Yes, because getting your organs teared out and having them looked at happens in real life.
If you're an alien, it would!
Yeah, if you're an alien, you did that to a human too!
Wait, when?
You tore out Dib's organs, or you at least...
He was half alien and it was Zim. I'm sorry.
No, Zim tore out Dib's organ. Yeah, he turned out it doesn't... You're trying to make sense of that. You were just yelling at your little sister for trying to back somebody into a corner with sense. You're doing the same thing. This Unscripted's going nowhere. Anyway...
No, it's going everywhere.
It's going too many places. What I was saying is just that Skype is a gateway. It really is. The internet itself is a gateway. I've said this before. It's a gateway to a lot of good and a lot of bad things. And when you know where to search for the good, you will find a lot of happiness and a lot of joy. When you see a YouTube video that makes you laugh and makes you think, or see a video you love on the internet, you can watch it and you can be happy. You read something that captures your attention just like me. And you can really engross yourself into what you're reading and what you're seeing. And
not to cut you off, but there's 29 minutes on my battery left.
It's fine. We'll be done by then. It's just that without Skype, this wouldn't happen. So this is our Skype story. Hopefully, we didn't bug you too much. Hopefully, you stayed with us till the end. Because probably half our subscribers didn't. They're just seeing the time count on here and going, oh, hell no. What's going on in the other subscriptions? Hopefully you stayed until the end or close till the end. But thank you for listening. The Storytrollers thing is something we really do enjoy doing.
And even though it takes us a while to put it out, because, you know, we have so much time in the day and so much energy.
But we love doing it because we figured that we really can do it. And we enjoy all the positive feedback we get. We even enjoy the negative feedback.
Oh, I
enjoy constructive negative feedback.
Oh, I enjoy the trolls because
you enjoy the trolls because
I troll them right back.
You've all probably seen this already.
Oh, there's only been 3 people.
If
so
you
far,
haven't, you'll see it at some point.
Look at our Facebook. I post. If you troll us, you not only get trolled back with Shakespeare, you get screenshotted and put on our Facebook.
But yeah, after seeing the Skype stories, we just couldn't help but do this. We had to do something together, so we did. So that's our Skype story. That's how we met. That's how we met physically. You know, we can do this, and we can still do this for now. And pretty much, it's something that can't be duplicated. And it's going to be something that's really hard to duplicate. It's a one-of-a-kind story, and I wanted to share it. So, do you have anything else to add?
Purple penguins.
Shouldn't have asked. But anyway, I'm Channel Jacker.
I'm Fiction Addict.
This has been our Skype story, and this has been a Storytrollers Unscripted.